Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for being on this call, guys. I want you guys to take notes on this. Okay. This is like, I wanted to kind of go over the basic stuff that you guys are growing so fast. You guys are honestly one of the fastest teams on our entire team. And you guys are, I mean, if you compare it to everyone in this business, you guys are really growing fast and it's incredible. But I know that also with that being said, like you guys have so many responsibilities that I feel like we kind of forget, that we're supposed to take on, or like, and you might not even had the chance to talk about it with your upline or Sam or whatever, because you guys are growing so fast. So we wanted to kind of get on here, talk about some things that we can do to help with you stepping into your leadership, with everyone, like, duplicating your business, making things, nothing should get harder. If anything, we need to work smarter, right? So nothing should be getting harder for you. It feels like you have more responsibilities, which is fine, but it shouldn't feel like anything is getting harder, right? So just a couple things I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over some tactics that like I think that everyone should be doing and or be familiar with when the time comes when you have to do it. But listen, MMB and up, you're a leader. I mean, as soon as you sign somebody in the business, you're a mentor, right? Like you have someone that you promise an opportunity that you're going to be there for them and work it with them. So right there and on, you're already starting your leadership. And once you're MMB, a lot more responsibilities come your way. And it feels like, okay, well, it's only the fourth rank. When I look back to when I was MMB, I swear to God, I was doing everything like as if I would if I was a director. So I want you to think about that. I want you guys to think about like, if you want to be SED in this, if you want to go far in this, how would you behave? How would you act? What else could you be doing, right? There's always room for improvement. So let's go over some of those things. First thing first, okay? And the reason why I said take notes is because you guys are going to have to do this for your girls when they're leaders. So take these notes, because I swear some of these things I wrote down are when Brittany had this call with me like 2 years ago. And then obviously I added as I was going, as I was in the business. First thing first, you're divorcing your upline. The biggest thing that we do in this business is we get in the habit of like going to somebody and asking questions, right? But we have to remember we want to divorce them. It doesn't mean that you're no longer working with them. You are responsible for your success, period. They are there to mentor, okay? They're there to help. At the end of the day, you guys have to be the leader of your team. I don't want anyone ever, when Nicole was MMB and up, I didn't want to be, as much as I wanted to help, I didn't want her girls to look at me. I wanted them to look at Nicole. I wanted her in the spotlight. So that's what you want to think about your girls too. Even if they're not MMB yet, you want to kind of slowly transition into like, no, I want, like, for instance, perfect example how you can start this with your market partners that are not MMB, they're MMP to AMB or whatever. If they're asking a question in the chat, I don't want you to respond saying, I don't know, at Sam, do you know the answer to this? I want you to message Sam and I want you to ask Sam, and then I want you to respond, because I want it to, it's not that you're pretending, but I want you to know. I want you to be the one to answer. I don't want them to think that you don't know the answer, but you are growing really fast and it's important. I want them to respect you. I want them to look up to you, and I want them to come to you. I don't want them to think Denise doesn't know anything. She always like, it's like, Nicole, what, So just like something so simple as that will help in your business. So you want to set the vibe for your tribe. Just because I might like something so much this way and maybe Nicole doesn't, unless you guys come in between and, come in the middle and meet halfway and you guys can agree to something, maybe you want to do something a little differently, or you just have a different tribe that you were trying to attract. You are the leader, so you got to divorce them. But thinking about a leader, I think about this all the time. What does it mean to be a leader? You're not a leader because you're in charge, right? You're a leader because you know how to prioritize your team's needs before your own. That means it's not just a rank, Okay. It's a process of them trusting you, you working with them. We're not anyone's boss. I never tell anyone what to do or what to say. If they're asking me, like, for instance, it's another small example. If someone asks me, like, what's the best way to respond to this? I'm never going to say, just do this. I'm going to say, this is what I would say because, but it's totally up to you. You can change the lingo. You can do this. This is my suggestion. It's more, I just think it's like, I'm not telling you what to do, but this is my recommendation. Now, it's up to you. I think it's just stuff like that. And your tone of voice can change completely the basically like just the atmosphere in these conversations. 4 traits of being a good leader, right? Which starts with number 1, communication. Being a good listener. I'm a big question person. If someone comes to me and says, oh my God, Nicole is just not coachable. She's not listening to anything I'm saying. Like, she's not doing this. She's not sending me screenshots. She's not doing just this. I'm going to get on the phone with Nicole, and I'm not going to assume Nicole's not doing any of those things. I'm going to ask questions. Are we doing that? Okay, so what's going on with that? Like, what are the struggles, right? Let your girls talk. You want to talk last. Hear what they have to say. We also got to manage our emotions, okay? You want to get on the same level as them. Responding and not reacting. That's so important. Take some time to respond. It's really easy to blame, especially the people you're close with. That's why sometimes I say in this business, try to make sure you're building that relationship with your market partner where you're not getting super close, just close, friendly versus also business-wise, you're not growing together. Don't put that weight on your team, just take some time to respond. It's easy to blame. So you don't want to put that weight on your team, on your girls. Always complain up. Never negative down. If your girls are saying to you, I can't get any VIPs, like no one wants to sign up with me right now, you can't respond and say, oh my God, same, like it's so hard, da 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 da. But you go to Sam and tell her that. You can say to your upline, like say, Karen's my upline. I'm going to go tell her, I'm like, I'm having such a problem with getting customers right now. I don't know why, da, 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 and I want to bitch to her, but I'm never going to let my downline know that because you're feeding into something. It's just like any other conversation in any kind of chat. You don't want to feed into that. It's again, you're attracting that tribe. Knowing your audience. This is so important. This changed the game for me in group chats. And you guys can ask Nicole how unprofessional I was 2.5 years ago. I would curse. I would say all kinds of things. I would respond to people with no explanation. Like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. That's so stupid. Like just not at all. Obviously, no one knows how to do this, right? And we get better. But when I asked this question to myself, it changed the game. If the president of the company saw the conversation you're having in a group chat, would it be okay for them to see it? I was like, oh, okay. I really have to change the game, the way I speak, the way I talk to my girls, the way I respond. If say the website isn't working, I'm not going to sit there and talk crap about my Nate and, this website's always down. They need to get their together, like all that stuff. I wouldn't do that. So same stuff. Same mentality as that. Recognition. Okay. Brittany says this all the time, and I say this all the time. I didn't join this company because I wanted to be, I wanted to be praised and recognized. But so many people do. And I'm not saying you guys are, but I'm just letting you know so many people do. So we need to celebrate them. Okay. Always recognize your girls when they're new, first VIP, which I see you guys doing it all the time. But they have to be announced right away when they promote. So important. When I even sign a market partner right away, so important that they are welcomed right away. No excuse in the book. Okay. Nip it in the butt. Like you just got to do it. Sometimes you guys have to get, what you guys also want to remember too, like when someone hits MMB, we get them a necklace. Me and Nicole were just talking about this. We never had it for MMs, but that is something we're going to figure out because we do want to do a gift for market mentor, but we told ourselves this, and this is the reason why I think you guys will agree maybe not yet, but you got to hold your rank 3 times. Okay. 3 months in a row, I want you to hold MM before I send you your gift. You know why? Because so many girls hit MM and then they don't hit it at all for like 10 months. I'm like, how is that fair? You know, how is that fair? Not for the gift aspect, but you wanted this. Sometimes girls go for goals and then they don't follow through. Why would you work so hard in 1 month and then let it all go to waste? So we're thinking about doing something for MM because I think it is a big accomplishment. You're getting a car. So that's gonna be something we do. And then you get director gifts always. AED, ED, and SED. You're always gonna get a director gift. That's something that we do for our girls.
Only
just so you guys know. Huh?
I thought it was only AED.
No.
What? You're getting me a gift again?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go broke buying people gifts.
I know, but that's also like so important too. Like, I don't want you guys to like, as soon as you guys have a good paycheck, don't go be spending all your money. You know, I want you guys to act like you're freaking broke. It's so important that you guys don't spend all of your money. Save that money for your taxes, save that money for your life. Like, it's so important. That's why your girl hits MM. I told Nicole this, and I can tell you guys, because since they're not on this call, but I got 2 girls who hit MMB. And I know it's going to be a push for them to ever hold it again because they're just so wishy-washy. And I was so cranky just before this call. I was like, I just bought them 2 necklaces because I wanted them to hold it. But I just know I don't think I'm ever going to be gifting them anytime soon unless they really do a mind switch, you know? So I'm like, let me just do it and get it over with. But again, it's important to do recognition. Maybe that'll be something that they, you know, react to. Okay, delegation and empowerment. Being a leader is like a parent, right? You want to build their confidence. I do this all the time. You want to give them guidance, give them the tools to make them as successful as they can be. Like right now, what I'm saying to you guys is like basics. You're going to do the same thing for your girls, you know? It's like super simple, like tips that we start like paying attention to. And you just have to believe in them before they believe in themselves. This is so important to me. Do you guys relate to this? Do you feel like sometimes you're even that way? Like where you're like, I don't know, like I think I'm going to hit MM. You know, you have your girls like, I'm going for it, but like, we'll see. I'm like, no, you can absolutely hit MM. What do you mean? Like Yen was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go for MMM. Like, I was like, you are definitely hitting it. What do you mean? You just have to plan this out. And you can absolutely do this. And I'm not just saying that because I believe in the person, like, and that's me just being a good, no, I really believe in them and I see that they can do it. But you know, actions speak louder than words. So don't just say it to anybody. You know, your words mean a lot more than you realize. You guys have no idea how much your girls look up to you yet. Like it's really crazy how much they look up to you. You guys are like to them, when they meet you guys, if you haven't met some of your girls yet, when they meet you, it's going to be like, oh my God. And if you don't understand it, but it's so sweet. So that's why you want to set the tone right. Okay. This is some leadership to-dos. I don't care if you are only MMB, doesn't matter. One of the things that I do that changed the game for my business is I go on my back office and I stalk every single person in the business. There's a reason why I've gotten the habit of that, right? Because your business is going to keep growing so fast that you guys are not going to be able to keep track of all the girls that are on your team. You're not going to know every single one. You know what I'm saying? So what you guys need to do, so say I want to just look at Nicole's back office, right? I want to see who is doing what just on Nicole's team. I take Nicole's market partner ID number. Okay. I copy it. And then I go to reports. I go to market partner search. This is going to change the game for you guys. I go to market partner search. I put in, you'll see that I think you might have to maximize like that button that comes up at the top, right? Like advanced options or something. And then you'll see your market partner ID numbers in there, right? Because it's pulling up your entire team. You're going to take that out. You're going to put you're going to put that market partner's ID number. So I'm going to put Nicole's, and then I'm going to say run report. Now I only see Nicole's back office. Like I don't even see anyone else. I'm just focusing on my one leg. Nicole is going to go for, say she's going for SED. I know who her 2 AEDs will be. I know who her 6 MMBs are going to be, but how do I see everybody? So I'll look and I'll get on the phone. This is step number 2. I'll get on the phone with Nicole and we'll look at her runners, her players. Where do we need? If it's volume that she was short on, we're going to look at the last month's volume. This is 2 different ways you go about this. Like, for instance, we just had a call. It's not volume that she's concerned about. We just want to make sure that her one leg gets to somewhere so that she can hit a new promotion, right? But say volume is something you're concerned about. Say last month you did 20,000 and you're wanting to do 30,000 this month, right? You take your last month's volume, then you look at your report and you're going to see, okay, all right, so Kayla is going for MM this month, and last month she only brought in 15K. So this month she's definitely going to bring another 15K, you know, because she's definitely going for it. Then I look at only Kayla's market partner back office and I pull her report up and look at her 2 MMBs and I look at her runners. So I'm on the phone with Kayla and Nicole. Like now we're doing a 3-way and they're filling me on things. And maybe one of Kayla's girls are saying, maybe it's Catherine and Catherine's like not being coachable, hasn't responded to Nicole, won't respond to Sam, won't even listen to Kayla. And then I'm like, the last resort, I'm like, okay, let me go introduce myself to her. Let me reach out to her because there's always a solution for anything that you guys are dealing with, whether someone's being difficult, whether there is a language barrier, whether someone is just not motivated and they just need to hear it from someone else. It never hurts. So the most important thing you guys can do for your business is get in that habit of going in your back office and pulling up your girls. If it's just your back office, you should go in there and look at it. I look at the new market partners. Now when your team is growing even more, I go in the market partner search, the new market partner search, and I look up every single person that signed up in just that month. And I don't know them because, you know, I don't know them. I reach out to the ones that are running. That's how I found Sam. That's how, you know, I even noticed who Yen was. I was like, who is this? Like this person is running through the ranks or volume. And I reach out and I'm like, hi, I'm Denise, like, nice to meet you. Like, I'm sure I've done it to some of you. Like, I just wanted to introduce myself. You're killing it. Like, this is your 2nd month. Like, how are you doing? Again, I'm asking a question because I just want to know how they're doing. I'm not here hitting them up for anything that's going to benefit me. I'm doing it because this is what we do. You know, we are building an organization and you're duplicating that kind of strong mentality for your business partners, and you want your teams to be strong. So you want to look for those leaders. You want to look for those hungry people. Like you, last month was my own, I always look back and think, what did I not do? The one thing I didn't do is pull up my new market partner report and talk to people that have recently signed on. There's so many people. You guys brought on so many people. Are they all getting the help? You know, like there's going to be your level 6, level 8s, level 10s. You're not going to know. So this is so important. If you ever need volume, you don't know what's happening level 9 and 10. Maybe they don't know anything about the training pages. Maybe they don't know, you know what I'm saying? So this is so important that you guys get in the habit of this. If you haven't gone on the phone and you're going for MM this month and you have things that, you know, you want to basically chime in on with your upline, you should do that. It's so like when I just did a 3-way with Sam and Nicole. And Nicole, Sam, what was the one thing that you felt like that was so helpful? Because like we can just like basically be up to date with runners.
Yeah, so I called it the behind the scenes. So we literally did what you just described, but I felt that was helpful because there's so many levels that we tend to just lose some of them. And just the fact of learning how to do that, running the report, it makes it so much easier to focus on the runners that are pretty silent, but you don't see them because they're just so far down. So definitely that was awesome.
Yeah. So, and like, think of it this way too. You don't need to do this. This isn't something like an everyday, but I was telling Sam this. I'm like, sometimes I'll say, okay, today for at least an hour, I'm going to pull up my report because if I do it in the morning, because what happens is these girls respond and then you want to have a conversation and you don't want that to get lost. So I know that day, that's the day that I'm dedicating to communicating with these girls and making sure that I'm, answering anything that they need or whatever. So, or maybe Sam is saying like, I really would like it if you texted this person and so on. So that's a huge different thing that you can add onto your business to do.
I wanted
So
to
let's go ahead.
that. So you guys that are all leaders, I want you to know about that report, and then never forget that your upline and your upline's upline, we're all here to help. Like most of you are like so new. You've only been in the business for 2 months and you're already like such big ranks and you still need help. And not because you don't know your stuff, none of that, but just sometimes your downline needs to hear from someone that they don't hear often from, someone that they haven't spoken to that is not on every call that they do. So let's say that Bruni wants to rank and now she goes, okay, let me check on my report. This girl might be a runner. I want to text her. And you can be like, Sam, can you text her with me? Can you say something? Just use us and let us help you, because that's something that's really important. And I feel that sometimes you guys don't talk much, like you don't ask for help as much as maybe, we can help you guys.
And then another thing that's really important is, so when I joined, I just wanted to make the 2000. It was a smart start. I wasn't familiar with ranks. So that night at like midnight, Denise sent me a message and she's like, hey, is Denise Kaike? It was like midnight. And I'm like, who is this girl? But I looked her up on Instagram and I saw her Instagram page and I'm like, oh my God, this is some famous California chick. She just messaged me. I feel special. And she's like, what are we doing to rank up? And Market Runner, she talked to me, right? Then the next day, I don't know Nicole. Nicole calls me. And then I look up Nicole on Instagram. I was like, oh my God, this Spanish chick, she looks famous too. The thing is that same day I got 3 market partners. Why? Because I felt special because these 2 amazing Instagram people, took the time to message me and look who's Denise and Nicole. But this is important. We may not see like each other like famous or whatever the term is, but the minute you take time to message someone that just started the business, they feel something. Whatever it is that they feel will motivate them. Because if it wasn't for that night and the next morning, I probably wouldn't have been where I am right now.
Aw. Don't be all cute. Okay.
I'm gonna try.
I think that's a really good point. Remember, it goes back to what I was saying, like they look up to you guys so much, like you have no idea what kind of influence you'll have on them by just saying, hey, how are you? Like, just want to introduce myself. How is your month going? You're crushing it, or you're close to your first rank, or you're halfway to your first promotion. Like wherever they are, it's still a big deal to me, so making sure that they know that it's a big deal. Okay. So let's talk about some duplicatable things that like we got to not forget. Management mode. Biggest mistake I could have done for my paychecks, biggest mistake I could have done for my business. And sometimes I still get caught up in it. Sometimes you will too. Don't beat yourself about it, but we have to rely on the duplicatable system, the group chats. Everyone has to put in the same effort, the units. Nicole is now doing a Facebook just for Spanish because I know there's so many also of us that aren't speaking in English. So she's going to do that so that it's easy, like the onboardings and all of that. Like everything needs to be guys, I don't even tag anybody in the units. I'm like, it's in the units. It's unit 5. You'll find it. Because if they can't just make that simple search and figure it out, they're not making an effort. And you can't be in management mode. Like I will not, I don't know if it was Sam or something, but someone sent something and like circled it, or like, I was like, wow, like you're taking so much time to respond to this one thing. I was like, don't do that. That is like, it's super helpful, but it is not good for your business in the long run, because that's what they're going to get used to. And then they're going to duplicate that. And it's just not sustainable. It makes it difficult. You go in management mode and you're not focusing on your business, bringing on new VIPs, bringing on new market partners. That group volume that you guys are looking at, that's where your business is at. That's what you need to remember. GV means that's where my business is at. DV is how your business is doing, but GV is where you're at, because your GV, you're always going to bring in new business. And guess what? New business means you're growing your team and your business and your paychecks. So if you're not doing that, you're in management mode and you're just constantly helping and helping and helping, and you're not focusing on growing your business. The non-negotiables that like I think is super important are 500 by the 5th. You might think like, why? Like there's going to be a month I'm going to say like 500 by the 5th, like I'm going to do a giveaway. But like sometimes there aren't giveaways, we just do it. So like even if I don't do it by the 5th, I'm like, oh my God, like I need to do it. Like last month or if it was the month before, I was like really not starting out the month strong with my VIPs. And then I, caught up with it. The reason why that's important is you're setting the bar for your girls and they all have their PV taken care of and they don't have to worry about that shit. Do you know how many people miss out on MMB because they're at 450 or like 300 PV and they have everything they need? I'm like, why is it the end of the month and you don't have at least 500? 500 PV is nothing. You should be doubling that. You should be tripling that. You want to get paid, your PV should be high. So PV, 500 PV by the 5th, get in that like mindset. If you don't get it this month, you will next month because you're going to be doing a non-negotiable with yourself, and you'll tell your team too, like 500 by the 5th, I want to do it. Like, let's go. Let's all rally together. The other thing, re-ranking by the 15th. If you're MMB, you better be MMB by the 15th or do everything you can to get there by the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, because then you don't even have to worry about that. It's done. And the same with your girls. If they're MMP, they need to be MMP by the 15th because they need to be freaking re-ranking and doing something else, right? So those are the two non-negotiables that I feel like you guys cannot. And I tell every girl now, it's crazy where like how I was a year ago versus now. MMP in 72 hours, a new girl. Doesn't matter. I'm like, if you don't get it, nothing happens, but it's absolutely doable. So I want to act like we can do MMP in 72 hours. And if they don't, MMP in 72 hours starts over again, right? Those are just like things that I like to tell them on the calls. If anyone's going to be scared, they're probably not the tribe you're trying to attract anyways, right? And you can like say, well, that's fine. You can take it slow. And then you know what speed they're moving with. And you don't need to be constantly checking in on them and so on. Onboarding and welcome, like onboarding, welcome calls, same stuff. You guys have to be onboarding your own girls. As soon as you're MMB, I'll be the first to admit, the second Brittany put me on the phone to onboard, I started stuttering and I was like, I can't do this. And I gave the phone back to her. And then the second time I had my notes, I was reading, I was like, smart start. Like it was the worst onboarding I've ever done. Obviously, it was my first one. It was terrible, but I got it done, right? So like after that, like it's all about doing it and doing it and doing it, and you're going to get better and better and better. Same with opportunity calls, MMBs, opportunity calls. If your girls are seeing you doing it, they're going to know that that's a responsibility that they're taking on when they're MMB. Opportunity calls, onboardings. Now, I also want you guys to challenge yourself. Are we doing any trainings for our teams? MMB or not, wherever you're at, you got to think, what does my team need? Do they lack in recruitment? Are they lacking in VIP? Great. Let me just think about some things that I do every day and get on the phone and talk to them about some bullet points. Doesn't need to be some freaking like, oh, I watched this on a TED Talk and I was inspired. Like, no, none of that stuff is ever like that as impactful, right? Like, I feel like sometimes my best and favorite calls are when I get on and I'm like, this is something I just experienced and I want to tell you guys what helped me the most. And that is like tactics, and telling things like that are doable are always going to help with your teams. So do those, doing calls with your teams, connecting with your sidelines. Now that's a huge one. Engaging in the chat and connecting with them. Say I have Jennifer on here, then we have Bruni, and say Jennifer and Bruni are like, oh my God, my team needs this. And then she's like, oh my God, no, my team needs this. Let's do a call together. Let's do an opportunity call together. All these things, you guys can collaborate and work together. That is like what's so fun about this. Like I love being able to do that with everybody. So that's another thing I want you guys to get in the habit. None of this is going to happen overnight. So I hope no one's like, oh my God, I have so much shit to do. But, it's just important. Another thing that I want you guys to get used to with your girls, 3 before me. If they're in the habit of constantly asking you guys questions, coming to you, like, I think I might have like even like, I don't know if who I did it to, but like last month and the month before were the months I started replying to people and said like, oh my God, you know who'll know the answer to that? Google. Because I don't have time for this. Like, I don't have time to show you how to do this on Instagram. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I literally don't. And guys, it was my biggest mistakes in the business. Again, in the first year, I would answer anything and everyone. I wanted to be everyone's right-hand man, whoever needs me, whatever they need. And that's not good, because they get in that habit of constantly asking you questions, not because they want to, but it becomes a habit. So 3 before me, look up 3 resources before you come to me. You know, like, I want you to get in that habit is what you want to tell them. Like, this is an area of opportunity for you to go in your back office and search for something, you know, look in your Facebook pages and see if there's an answer for that. Like, or Google it, or ask somebody in the group chat that you're in, you know, utilize your sources, the units. We already just went over that. You guys already do events, so I'm like not concerned about that. I know like those of you that just recently signed, you haven't seen like the events that the girls do in person, but right now you guys could be hosting the virtual ones, but hopefully like everything is slowly coming back to life and normal, so you guys can start doing events soon. But secret sauce that everybody always wants to talk about is MMP, okay? Get your girls to MMP. If you think about, say you pull up your back office, you pull up your report and you have 30 girls in your back office. If they all get to MMP, that's 1,200 times 30. See how your volume is going up? If only 30 girls went to MMP and they didn't do anything else, you got to get your girls to MMP. I think most of the time, girls who don't promote in their first 3-4 months, it's less likely for them to come back around versus girls who do promote, because they see the money coming. They see the excitement. They're excited and they're thrilled and they're part of the community already and they're getting addicted versus like later on. So get them to MMP, holding their ranks, you know, and then push them to leadership, right? I told my girls, I'm like, I see so much potential. I feel like I'm empowering, right? I feel like I'm empowering right now, and I want to take a tiny step back. I know you can do this. So on this potential call, I want you to talk about this part. Or like, I'll say, let's do the onboarding for your new girl. This is how you guys can get them ready before MMB. I just see so much potential in you, and this is going to be something that you're going to start doing. So why don't you cover the VIPs and I'll cover this when we do the welcome call? Or why don't you ask her why, and then you guys connect or something, you know, get them to get comfortable with talking. That's a leadership opportunity. And you guys want to know how your paychecks can be higher? Go wide. You want to have 20 new MMBs on your level 1. That's what you want to have. You want to have strong top lines. You want to have your 1 to 5 is going to differentiate your paycheck if you really want to think with numbers. But MMBs is everything you'll ever need in this business that is going to quit on you, that's also going to want to be SED. Like, there's just like, there's 2 versions of them. If you look at the top of the compensation plan, you need 6 MMBs, and then you only need 2 directors. You still need 6 MMBs. So it's interesting, because when I hit AED, Brittany's first thought was, okay, so who are going to be your 6 MMBs when you hit SED? And I was like, oh my God, I need 6 MMBs, you know, as my level 1. That's all you need, 6 MMBs. So now imagine if you had 20 of them. If one of them doesn't want to freaking hold their rank, great, you have 19 more. That is how you want to think about your business, and your paychecks will go higher and higher if you're going wider and wider, not deeper. Okay. So think like that. And I think that's it. Like, am I forgetting anything? Do you guys have any questions that you want to like talk about? I feel like these are most of the basics that I think that's so important. You know, just remember, like, I want you guys to be the person that they look up to. So like, if you feel like you haven't been stepping into your leadership, that's okay. Like, this is the time, you know, step by step, you're going to get closer and closer. And the way I like to think of it is too, if you act like, you know, MMB, then you're gonna be just that, right? But if you're acting like, what would I be doing if I was market mentor? Because the way we look at these ranks, we feel like it's so far, you know, from where we're gonna go, or like director, like, or this. And once you're there, then what? So I feel like if I acted the way I would if I were those ranks, I would behave a little differently. I would do things differently. I would speak differently. Like, for instance, I always say we, I never say you. That's a big thing in my communication that I change. I say, we should do this because I think it would be best if we, versus like, well, this is what you do all the time. So you need to change this in your, that, you know, like, look, it just sounds different. We sounds like, okay, we can work on this together. But what we should do right now is focus on this, you know? And I think that's going to change the game for a lot of your market partners that are dragging you down, like that are in some days, let's be serious. You guys are going to have days where you're like, oh my God, I want to kill everybody. But we have those days without Monate anyways. So it doesn't matter. Right. But I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys have anything that you want to talk about? Questions or anything? Was it helpful? You guys can unmute yourself, please.
I don't have a question, but this was definitely helpful. I took a lot of notes. So thank you very much.
No, I'm so glad we did this. You guys are beasts. You're growing so fast. I love it. Like, I love it. Like, I love how you guys aren't even freaking cold messaging. You're just like, you're doing the right way, which is so important. I think opportunity calls, doing them more is going to help you. I would love to see your names and group me. Because that is cool, because your girls are going to see that and your girls are going to be like, oh my God, that's my upline. And they're going to want to do the same thing. I'm telling you, they're going to want to duplicate your behavior, your attitude, your drive. All of that is so important. Like, I can imagine if Brittany wasn't driven, I probably wouldn't have been as driven. I feel like if I wasn't driven, then probably Nicole would have been like, oh, screw this. Like, I just feel like we all duplicate each other's energy and our drives and goals and belief and all of that comes together when we come together. So I think that you guys are doing amazing. There's nothing to say that I would do differently. I think just improvements, right? Because we all can use a room of improvement.
Yeah, I definitely thank you and Brittany more than I know I text you guys every so often about it, but I thank you in my head a lot more often, like almost every day, because I always think about that. I'm like, if I would have joined a team where my upline, even though my direct upline really didn't do much, but you know, if I didn't have people above me that were so driven and that were like, you can do this, you can be a director anytime, you're gonna do this, like, I know that, you know, like sometimes you don't believe in yourself when you start this. You really don't. You don't really think that you're gonna make a big deal out of this. So I feel that the fact that we can all have people supporting each other and supporting us and saying, you know, like, you're gonna do this and you're gonna see that you're gonna do this even faster than you were gonna, help us a lot. But what you were saying about like talking to sidelines, I feel that we sometimes, that's something that we need to maybe work on, because when I first joined this business, it was all about like, we didn't have chats the way that we're doing now, that it's only our downline. We were like with everyone. Whoever joined got into a chat, and then if that chat got full in iMessage, then we jumped to another one. So you got to meet a lot of other people, and I feel that made the whole thing a lot more fun. And with that, I think that we do a lot of calls, a lot of opportunity calls, a lot of training for our own downline, and then we leave it there, and we're not posting it on GroupMe, and we're not sharing with other people. And you know, like the same as we like to join others people like perspective on their calls, their trainings, they can also learn from our perspective and the type of trainings that we're doing. We can all, you know, like learn from each other and the tips. We all do things a little different. So I do feel that we need to try to get on more trainings, not for just our downline, and do them on GroupMe and like welcome everybody. And I know it's a little scary at first, but I do feel like a lot of us have done enough calls just ourselves, and now, like, it shouldn't be that much of a jump if we start sharing with the rest of the shampoo mafia. And I think we do need to, like, that's why Karen is doing a power hour with me on Friday. And I've been asking, like, let's do more power hours. Even if you feel that you're not ready for it, like, to host a training, host a call, power hours are easy, guys, and they are very helpful. So we can start with this.
What I was gonna say too, guys, this is something that Brittany set in Nicole, you'll remember this. I don't know if Sam was in there yet, but in our leaders chat, when I added Brittany into it, okay, because like the mood needed to shift. Like there was a lot of negativity happening in my leaders chat, and I was like wanting to rip my head off. This is like a year ago. I love them all, and I was like, but I hate them all right now. That's how I felt, I'm like, they're not, Nicole was not one of them. I'm not saying that because she's here, but she wasn't. But like most of the time, there was just a lot of negativity, and she picked up on it instantly. She was in there. I didn't even tell her, right? And she noticed that there's a lot of like, comments that would like I was getting, like she was like, this is unacceptable, like someone was like, oh, like which one did you upgrade your Zoom to or something, like you should have done this one, Denise, like da da da. Meanwhile, I didn't want to spend $70 a month on Zoom to have more than 100 people. I'm like, barely 100 people even show up sometimes, I'm like, so I didn't want to do that, but like I'm just like, oh, okay, like da da da. So Brittany went on this call and she said something that really you guys need to do as a team. She said, how about thank you for upgrading your team? How about thank you, Zoom? How about thank you for doing this call? Every time your girls do calls or every time your team, your uplines do calls, you better text in the chat after and say, thank you so much. Like, like they're taking a day and they're taking time out of their day to host a call for you guys, everybody. And I think it's nice to appreciate and show that appreciation. And it's, again, setting that right tone for your girls, because they're going to do the same when you go and host a call, and you're going to, their girls are going to do the same, and so on. That's the duplicatable system you want. You don't want your organization to grow and then have it be something super negative. Everyone's not supporting, collaborating, working together. Everyone's putting each other down. That's like not Monade. I feel like Monade is the only thing I can think of where so many girls get along with each other. Don't you guys think? Like, I feel like 400 girls together, they'd all hate each other. But this, we're like, oh my God, you're amazing. You're so pretty. You're such a rock star. Like, we're constantly building each other up, not because it does anything for anybody. It's just, that's just what we do. It's our attitude. So make sure you're thanking people that are doing things on the team, whether they're your upline or not, because I think it's so important to recognize that. I can go on all day, so we should go. But no, thank you guys so much for being on this call. Thank you. I'm so excited for all of you. I hope you guys have freaking big goals for yourselves. Just, I think like be okay with not getting where you want to be at the end of the month, because you're going to start all over and do it again the next month, but also go hard every month. We all have things going on right now. Right now, I know it's a really tricky time with everything like Corona and now everything that's been going on now. So I think it's also important, that we are educating people on everything that's going on, and doing things the right way in that tone. We have to be spreading the light, right? I think you guys have a call in 10 minutes with Ray, right? Okay, so love you guys. I'm rooting for you. Hopefully all this was helpful, and now go breed some more leaders.
Thank you, Dee. And
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
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 thank you.